friends are having a great time. It's not face to face, it's all online. We're all in our homes, miles away. Love them like my family, what can I say? My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. Don't call or text me, it's about to begin. I've been patient, time for me to chime in. Comfy clothes on, feeling just fine. I'm busy right now, it's crafting show time. My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. Let's have a good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Hey gifted crafters, welcome back to Saturday CrafterNoon. I am so glad to be back in my craft room. As those of you who follow me know, I was in Lakeland, Florida for the Sewing and Quilting Expo, and it's great to be back home and in my craft room. And this is the real craft room, not the virtual one. Alrighty, thank you all for tuning in. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name's Nancy with GiftsHQ, and I host these weekly live sessions to just talk about all things crafting, from sewing, knitting, crocheting, embroidery, decoupage, and just so much more. So any kind of craft, we like to cover it here. We like to share tips, tricks, and ideas. So go ahead and pop yourself into the chat and say hello to our friends there. We've got some people that'll be our little welcoming community, and they will just kind of get you up to speed on the stuff we do here. Alrighty, so this week there's quite a few things that I have for you. Like I said, I've just got back from that Sewing and Quilting Expo. If you did not see last week's live, last week we kind of talked about all of the things that I found there, and I showed some video and some pictures of all the beautiful quilts that were there. So if you didn't get a chance to see that, go back to that one, because there's some really beautiful stuff out there. I did share a couple more pictures as well from the people that I met there, which was a lot of fun, and some of it was some of you out there. So I was really happy to meet some of our crafters. I also met a couple of other YouTubers out there, and we just had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of things, new techniques that I learned, and I'm going to kind of just pass that information over to you. So we're going to be talking about some of the techniques that I learned on a class that I took. And I think it was, really interesting, although I did kind of put a little spin to it. So I'm going to show you 3 different techniques on how to do something, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So before we get into all of that, let's take a little rewind because, you know, I'm the holiday girl. And there's two pretty cool ones this week. So, one holiday that you won't find on your calendar is National Goof Off Day. So, for all you goofballs out there, this is your day. So if you're looking to do some goofing around with your friends, this is the perfect day to do it. It is also National As Young As You Feel Day. And I really love that one because we all feel a little young and you are as young as you feel. So what a perfect way to spend it crafting and kind of demonstrate that, right? So I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Now, if you noticed when we first came on, you heard the Crafting with Friends song. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. That kind of like, how can I say, kind of puts me in the mood to get me going and to be with you guys because that song is all about you guys. So we hope you really enjoy that song. So let's jump into the chat. Let's see who we have out there. I want to say hello to a few friends that I see. I see Donna Phillips. Hey, Donna, how you doing? We've got Jenny Owens. Hey, Jenny. We've got Judy Bauer. I've got 1 Minute Tips. I got Robin's Quilt Basket and Sassy. Oh, and Jackie Hallman seems like she was here, but she's off to a winery. So have a great time, Jackie. And I know that you'll catch the replay later. So I hope you had a great time at the winery and, you know, just let us know how it went. Show us some pictures, why not, right? So, again, if you guys are working on different projects and things, go ahead and put it on our Facebook group because I like to share all kinds of things. I know Donna Phillips has been doing quite a lot of things, and we've got so much going on. I'm going to see if I can get to it, but I'm not going to be able to do it today. We'll probably do a recap next week. So if you guys have anything, I'm going to try to tie it all together and we'll show it next week, all the projects. So go ahead and put it in the Facebook group and next week we'll gonna line it all up and show what everybody's been up to, right? Sounds like fun, huh? Okay, so I really want to get to the class that I took. So again, I went to, it was the Sewing and Quilting Expo in Lakeland, Florida, and it was on March 13th, 14th, and 15th. I only went for one day because I had a lot of things going on in, you know, life. And so I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to go, but I finally, my mom was in the hospital, got out of the hospital, then I was able to kind of get her settled and get over there. So it was kind of an unplanned thing because I thankfully didn't sign up for any classes since I knew I had stuff going on. So what I basically did is when I got there, I kind of looked at the list to see what events were open. And so I found a couple of slots that were available. And so I didn't want to take a class that would be too long because I did want to have the opportunity to shop around and meet some of you. So I did take a very short class, but it was so well worth it. Those classes are just amazing. You know, you can just pick up so many things. So the class that I took is English Paper Piecing by Machine. And super cool. And let me see if I can find it on here. Let's see. Yeah, it was only about an hour class. So it was a short class in comparison because some of those classes can be quite lengthy. But it was perfect for what we were doing. And it's basically, if you're someone who loves English paper piecing, there is the traditional method that is out there where you hand sew the pieces together. Well, in this class, we were showing how you can machine piece them together. And so it was so much fun. And the way we machine pieced it is we used a specific stitch, and I'll kind of show you guys. Let me bring this up really close so you can see this. So this is the stitch that we used from the machine. And this is kind of what the back looks like. Okay. Now this machine is called a hemming stitch. And it's designed to kind of simulate what a hand stitch would look like. Okay. Now there's a ton of different machines that are out there. They're all different numbered stitches. And for those of you who have those machines that have all those different decorative stitches, you may want to look for this particular stitch if you're interested in doing this. Again, this is what it will look like. Similar to a blanket stitch, but you have the stitching on each side. And if you can see on the back here, it probably makes it a little clearer. You're going to have a line going down the middle, and then it kind of gives a stitch to the left and a stitch to the right. And of course, you can adjust the size of the stitches that you want if you want the stitches to be wider or narrower, depending on the project that you're doing. And that particular stitch on my machine, I'm going to be showing you guys that stitch. I'm going to be using the Brother HC1850, and it is one of the stitches that are on there. And if you have that machine, you're going to be changing your foot to the end foot, because that is the foot that's associated with that stitch. And the end foot, and let me just kind of take it off so you can see it. The end foot is just pretty much an open foot. Let me bring this up. It's an open foot where you can see that this area here is nice and open, will allow you, and let me just grab my little pointer here. It'll allow you to do that zigzag stitch because this front end piece is nice and open. So you have that space available. Sassy said, looks like marking on a ruler. Yeah, almost. Exactly. It almost simulates that. That's correct. But, you know, it's a really fun stitch. And if you are not 100% of a fan of doing hand stitching, this is probably the next best thing to do that'll simulate that same type of look that you're going for. But you can do it a lot quicker with the machine. Now, this is what my finished project looked like from the class, okay? I'm going to show you what the stitches look like, kind of up close here. So you can see here you have the left and right are grabbing each of the hexagons, and you're able to now make this little flower piece. Now, there's different methods of how we put this together, and I'm just going to kind of generally go through the three different methods. So the first method is your traditional EPP method, where you have paper templates and you hand sew them. So paper templates would look something like this. You can buy them or you can make them. So this is just one that you could buy, and I got this, I think, at Joann's before they closed, but you can find them on Amazon and all kinds of places where you can get a whole pack of different shapes. Now, I've just happened to use the hexagon shape. That's the shape that I'll be using. And, you know, this pack has like about 100 of them. And, you know, they're relatively low cost. And so basically what you would do is you would wrap your fabric around the hexagon, and then you would need to have a glue stick. And there's Sew Line, and then there's a different glue stick, and I'm going to talk about that one in a little bit as well, where this is kind of for that particular, your EPP projects. And you would use the glue stick to help wrap the fabric around the template. And then you would take it to your sewing machine and you would sew, or actually, sorry, not sewing machine, you would hand piece this together by just sewing them together. And then eventually you would take these little papers out. Once you finish sewing it together, you'll just pull them out. Now, I think it's a nice method if you're into hand sewing. I could see a little bit of an issue sometimes in pulling the papers out once they are hand sewed. Especially if you have issues with your hands, you know, maybe the hand sewing is going to be an issue, and maybe even pulling the papers out are going to be an issue. Now, I have a sample here that I did with the papers. And as you can see, this is the back of it. So that's what it looked like. And then here's the front. And I have this all sewn together nicely. Now I just need to pull the papers out. Now it can be quite tedious in pulling this out. So when you pull them out, you know, sometimes your hands will hurt. If you have issues with your hands, you can use a little stiletto to pop it in there and pull it out. But it can be really time consuming in doing that. So I just found it interesting. It's a nice way to hand stitch if you're into that and you have the time to pull all the papers. But we all know that I don't have that much time. So I looking at this. Oh, Donna says, wow, I love that stitch. I used the zigzag stitch when I made the EPP Hexy cell phone clutch. I wish I would have known about this stitch. It looks so much better. Thanks to Jackie Hummon, I have a second kit. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks, Jackie, for giving you that second kit, and now you can try it with this method. So you can see the two and then kind of compare them together. Yeah, I didn't know about this stitch either until I went to that class, and I thought it was amazing. I mean, it's pretty cool. The fact that you don't have to hand stitch it if you don't want to, but it helps the project go a lot faster. And I'm going to show you an even easier method. So I was so excited that you have so many different things that you can do with this, right? So anyway, so we have our traditional EPP method again with the papers, with hand sewing them and then pulling the papers out. So that's method number 1. We're not going to do that method today. So let me look at method number 2. Now, method number 2 introduces a couple of new things. So this right here, let me pull this over to the side, is from Quilter Select, and it's called Print and Piece FuseLight. Okay, let me get the glare out of here so you guys could see that. So it's something that you can purchase. Now, I tried looking for this in Amazon, and they have other types, but not this specific one. And I'm going to talk about why I like this specific one, although you can go to the Quilter Select website and purchase it online there. Or you can go to your local quilt shop, which probably carries it as well. I know on the Quilter Select website, you can kind of put in your zip code and it'll tell you where it's available. Donna's asking for a bag or clutch. Maybe use a stiffer stabilizer that can be left in. Yes. And this may be something that you may want to look for. But for bags or clutches, yeah, if you want something a little bit stiffer, I would use a light interface, maybe a medium interface, and just keep it in. But this is something where it's completely different. So let me just kind of show you a couple things. So here is our traditional EPP method with papers in it, and I haven't taken the papers out yet. So you can see it's stiff. It still has the papers. You know, it's kind of looks okay. Once you take the papers out, it'll just be the fabric, so it would be really floppy, but there won't be any stabilizer to it. Where now you have this, and this was one that I did complete with the Select Piece and FuseLight, and you can see it here on the back. That's what it looks like. You can see, can you guys see that? Yeah. So that's the interface. Now, the interface, as you can see here, it's super soft, and it's not stiff. And it's just a tiny bit stiff, but I can tell you why it's not a tiny bit stiff. Because I haven't washed away the interface yet. And that's what's so cool about this product. This product, it is, and I'll tell you exactly what it says. So these are fibers of Select Piece Print and Piece FuseLight are partially water soluble. So you simply dampen the stitching lines and they remove easily without distorting the stitches. So guess what, guys? This on here, once you have this interface onto your piecing and you sewed it up as I have, you just dampen this with water and the interface will go away and you're left with just fabric. Pretty cool. It's already soft with the interface, not as soft as it would be with the paper, right? So paper is a lot more tougher, but this interface is so soft. And then when you're done with it, you just wet it, and then it's just like any other water soluble stabilizer that you have out there. It'll wash away and leave you with the product, the fabric itself. So pretty cool. I thought that was amazing, but there's even more to it. Okay, so let me kind of go back. So in the class, she introduced us to this Quilter Select Light, and she did provide us with some that we did. Now, the way it went about, and I kind of want to make sure I follow the steps that she has here. So we used this printed piece FuseLight, like I said. She printed out some hexagon shapes, and she gave us a sheet that was already printed. So it's similar to, and you can kind of, I guess, see it here on the back. See how it's printed here on the back? She printed a bunch of hexagon shapes, and so I went ahead and printed some with the ScanNCut. Okay, so I have a sheet here on here, and you'll notice the sheet has two sides. So you'll have your interface side with the cotton on here, and then when you flip it over, you have the glue-based side. And so you may see it. Not sure how well this will come out. Maybe a little bit, when you see a little bit of the glare hitting against the paper, you see a little bit of that shine. Those are the glue dots. Okay, so you have one side with the glue dots and one side that's just the plain cotton on here. So Donna says those hexy flowers would make a nice table runner or placemats for Easter. Yes, they would. Definitely. I love my spring colors. And I'll be showing you a couple of fabrics that I got from the expo for that too. So basically what she did was she gave us a paper with the printed templates on here. We were told to go ahead and grab our little scissors. And so we went on here, and I've cut two out already, but I've gone on here, and then you are to basically cut these pieces out just like this. Okay. So you've got your scissors out and you're cutting them away. If you want to use your rotary cutter, I guess you could do that too, with a ruler, just to make sure you get those lines straight. And so let me just cut this last piece out. So here now I have cut it out. And so what we've done after we sat there and we cut out all of our pieces, and then once we did that, then we went ahead and we got our fabrics out. Now again, I said I wasn't signed up to take, I wasn't planning on taking classes until I got there and saw what was open. So I saw one of the requirements for the class was to have some fabric. So I had to kind of do some speed shopping before the class started. And so I was able to pick up a couple of things. So I picked up, they required you to have a charm pack. So I picked up this charm pack called Speckled. And it does have lots of different colors with little speckles on there. So I thought those were really cute, and I could probably use it for a bunch of other projects as well. But I just really needed something really quick to be able to do the class. So I went ahead and picked that up. And then she also required a fat quarter. And I did see these, and I thought these were just adorable spring colors. Really, really neat. I'll kind of put these up here so you can see. I thought these were really pretty. And I've got some others on here. You can see here the pinks. You know, they all kind of blend. That's why I really liked, you know, the fat quarter really went well together. Probably this is one of my favorites. But I do like a lot of the colors on here. So really, really cute. So I did grab these two kind of quickly and then headed over to the class. The speckled fabric looks like wild bird eggs. Yeah, I guess I could, right? But I think they're really cute. I needed something that would really blend with the fat quarter, so this was the closest and quickest thing that I could find. Now, I probably could have spent a lot more time finding prettier fabric, but I was kind of in a rush, so I had to kind of get what I could just so I can get to class on time. So once you have your fabric, then we had our interface that we cut out little hexagons. Now, we were told to cut, I believe it was 7 or 8 of them that were on the sheet, so we pretty much cut them all out. And then once we did that, and I think I have one here left over, this is what they looked like, right? And so then we were told to go to the ironing station. And like I said, this fusible light has one side with the glue dots on it, and then the other side has the cotton soft side. So we were told to go to our fabrics and take a couple of fabrics from our charm packs, and on the back side of the fabric, we went ahead and we took the glue dots face down, and then we went ahead and fused this together. Okay, so then once you fuse this together, and we'll do it with the one that I cut out, and I have my little iron here, so I'm going to go ahead and position this. And you want to try to position it as best you can. I like to kind of save some of my fabric, but if you have a really cool fabric, like something like this, that you may want to fussy cut. So maybe you're going to want to position it so that you get the little bee here. And so I would kind of flip this over, make sure my glue dots are down, and then I could just fussy cut, you know, whatever image that I want from the fabric. And you can kind of just hold it up to the light, make sure it's centered in some way, or you position it however you want, and then go ahead and fuse it. So I'm just going to put it right there. I'm going to go ahead and take this over. Got my little iron here, and let me just fuse that in. Then I like to kind of just flip it over and give it a quick little press there. And it will fuse very nicely onto your fabric. So you see it's nice and fused. Now, I probably could have given it a little bit more space here, but because I was trying to fussy cut this, I didn't have too much space, but it's okay. So, see, Faker McFace asking, Nancy, can I sew an insole bright together to make it longer for an ironing board cover? The insole bright, yes, you can. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I would make sure the type of thread that you're using, you know, you want to make sure that your thread is not going to melt away with that, right? So use some polyester thread, because you don't, I mean, don't use polyester thread because you don't want that, you know, to be an issue after. You definitely want to use cotton thread on that because you want to make sure that the thread is not going to react to the heat and then go away. So yeah, you can definitely just sew the two together. That will make it longer, and then you can make your ironing board a lot longer. Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. That's a great, I'd love to see what it looks like when you're done. Show us a picture of that. That'd be great. Okay. So I have my fusible light onto the back of my fabric of choice, right? And now the next step for us to do in the class was to go ahead and cut and glue baste, right? So you want to cut off the excess here. And so you could use your add a quarter ruler to cut about a 1/4 inch around, or you can just use a regular ruler, whatever's easier for you, whatever you have on hand. I'm just going to go ahead and use my ruler here. I am not going to be too precise. As long as I have enough fabric to kind of go all the way around, I am good. And let me just, it's not going to be a 1/4 inch exact, and it doesn't even need to be too perfect. There we go. Okay, so I've got some excess fabric. Wasn't too happy with having to waste all this excess fabric, but I'm going to show you a third way that I did it when I got home. So again, we have our piece here. I've cut out most of the excess, and now we need to fold over the fabric onto the template. And so you go ahead and you grab your glue stick. And this is just a glue stick that I have on hand. I'm going to go ahead and just put a dab of it there and then just fold over the fabric. And I will finger press it down, but I also have this little roller that I think really comes in handy. And then I just kind of roll it right over. Just kind of reinforce it down there. And then you're just going to work your way all the way around. I like to do opposites. So I'll go ahead and do the opposite side, grab the glue stick. I'm going to go ahead and put that on here, fold that over, finger press it, and then I like to roll it. That kind of holds that really well. And you see here, I didn't leave too much space for myself. So it's going to be a little difficult, but it can be done. So I'll go ahead and add the glue for that one. And then I'm going to fold that over with my fingers. Just kind of really pressing over that edge. And then I'll grab my little roller. And I was able to do it just fine. And then just keep going to the other sides. Now, when you start getting to the areas where your fabrics overlap, like this edge here, just go ahead and put the glue stick on top of that so that the two fabrics will then kind of mesh together. And again, I like to use my little ruler, my little roller here. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the last two sides. And once I've done that, I'm going to roll them as well. Okay, so we've got that. Now I have a little bit of extra fabric here, kind of hanging. I really don't care about that. I can cut it off if I wanted to, so just go in and snip it off. Or you could leave it there. It really doesn't matter. Nobody's going to see it. So I've got those little pieces off, and so now I've got my little bee, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to roll each of the edges here. Let me move this over. Give me 1 second. There we go. So you can see that a little bit better. So I'm just going to roll that. I didn't get it completely centered, and that's okay. I wasn't really looking for perfection on it. But you see here, you've got the little bee now in, and you've got your sides. So Donna says, those tiny scraps are good for applique. I use vinyl felt fabric for small applique projects. Oh yes, I won't throw them out. I keep them in my little stash. And that's great because, yeah, those little applique projects, sometimes you get those little tiny pieces that you need and they work out perfect. But this is how we did it in the class. And then, of course, once we had all our pieces together, we took it to the sewing machine, and I'll show you how to do that. But this, to me, was okay. I liked it, but there's an even faster way to do it. And I'm going to show you that using my ScanNCut, because I think this was a nice way of doing it, but there's even better ways. So I'm going to go ahead and put this over to the side. And let me just show you how I use my ScanNCut to have this go even faster. So we are going to be using the Quilter Select Print and Piece FuseLight. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a sheet of that. Okay, this is what it looks like right out of the package. So you've got the little, this is the glue side. I don't know if you can see that, a little bit of a shimmer. That's representing all the glue dots, and then you have the other side here. Okay? That's the dull side, I guess, right? So, once you have that, you're going to want to select your fabric. And my point of doing it this way is if I'm going to be doing a project that has a lot of these hexagon pieces that I'm going to need, I might as well just do a whole bunch of them all at once. And so I thought this way was just a lot easier. So here's a piece of fabric, and I just kind of cut it somewhat to the size of the paper. And you can see here, kind of overlaps just a tad. Let me move that out of the way. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this glue basting side to the back of my fabric. And you can see I have some selvage here on the edge, and that's okay. I don't worry about that. And I'm just going to kind of line that up here so that my fusible light is covered by the fabric. And then I'm just going to take this over, and let me bring this over here. And I'm just going to iron this. So here's my fusible light. Okay, I'm just going to take my iron and I'm just going to iron it down. I'm using this really small iron. They actually had these exact same irons at the expo, so it was a lot of fun to see some of your supplies that you use in your craft room on a daily basis, and you see that they're actually using them for the class, which is nice. Oh, Donna has an update on her sewing room. Hubby has the first coat of sealer on stained wood. Next hang slot wall on next hang slate wall on 3 walls and paint it light green, light coral, and light yellow. 3 slate walls, 4 by 8 inch each. Awesome. Oh, how exciting. I'm so excited for you, Donna. It's exciting for you to have a place of your own for crafting. You're going to love it. Oh, you're just going to spend so much time in that room once it's all done, I'm sure. Awesome. Good for you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I don't know if anyone else is kind of renovating. I mean, it's springtime, so everybody likes to do all kinds of different things, right? It's springtime, and so, you know, you may want to kind of rethink your craft room, reorganize, put things, you know, out with the old, in with the new kind of thing. There's a lot of that going on. So, looks like I've got this on. I'm just going to flip it, and I'm going to go ahead and iron it on the other side, just because I'm doing it pretty quickly. So I want to make sure it's really fused on here. What else do you guys have going on out there? I know everyone is just busy. It's that time of year. I mean, spring is here, right? So we're definitely, you know, getting those types of crafts out of the way. And I think people are going to be extra creative this year with all the different issues with the prices of eggs and things. I don't think there are going to be too many Easter egg hunts this year. So people are going to get a little creative into doing all kinds of different crafting items and projects with the kids. So that's lots of fun. Okay, I think this is on pretty well. As you can see here. Yeah, so it looks like, yeah, a lot of Easter egg stuff's going on, and I don't know with the price of eggs how that's going to do, so we're going to have, like, colored potatoes, maybe. Who knows? All right. Let me pull this over to the side. So, I've got this fused onto this piece of fabric, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab... And normally I use my fabric mats when I'm using fabric, but in this case, I'm going to have the fabric facing up, and it's going to be the interface on the bottom piece on my mat. So I went ahead and I used the low tack mat for this. So the low tack mat, you guys, this is labeled right on there. This is the one that you will be using. Whoops, hold on, got to get that there. There you go. Says it right here in the middle somewhere, low tack. Okay, that's the one you want. You don't want the high tack because you'll have a hell of a time taking your stuff out. So, low tack mat, I'm going to go ahead and take my fabric and interface down. Let's go ahead and put that on here. There we go. And I'm just going to use my hands to make sure that it's on here. And I've got this little beehive colored thing. It looks pretty cool. So I think it'll come out nice. Okay. And then I'm going to wake up my ScanNCut. Now, when you have the ScanNCut, it's very easy for you to be able to create the hexagon shapes, and you can resize them. If you want to make them bigger or smaller, you can very easily using the software that is free. If you don't have to have a ScanNCut in order to use their software. Their canvas is super, super easy, friendly to use. Crafting with Robin says, I made those project bags with the knot handle. Awesome! For your granddaughter for Easter. Now you need to figure out something to make for your grandsons. Awesome! That's great! I actually gave a couple of the bags to some cousins of mine that she has. She was actually my flower girl at my wedding, and now she has her own kids, so I made her a little purse and kind of sent it over. And it was one of those hand knotted purses, because she's really into kind of, you know, princesses and purses and, you know, little shoes and things like that. So perfect age for her. Okay, so I went ahead and created those hexagon shapes, and I sent them over to my ScanNCut. So let me just grab my little pencil here. I'm going to go ahead and select retrieve data. I'm going to go ahead and select the little picture that has a little cloud and the pocket. We'll select that, and it's now going to retrieve that particular design that I have. All I did was go into the canvas and I looked at the shapes that were available there. I selected the hexagon, and then I copied and pasted it and made a whole bunch of them right here. And then I sent it to the ScanNCut by just hitting the download button. Super easy to do, and it's really user friendly, so you're gonna love it. Oh, Donna says, I want a new ScanNCut when the craft room is finished. Yes. Any thoughts on Cricut versus Brother? I do not want the Disney logo on the Brother. Might go with Cricut. So here's the big difference. I love my Cricut. I do still use it a lot for probably more of my paper type projects, but the ScanNCut has the ability to scan the mats and do extra things that the Cricut just can't do. And so my ScanNCut really helps me out with a lot of my applique, quilts, and now for my EPP projects as well. So that's the huge difference between the two, is that, you know, you have that scanning capability with the Brother ScanNCut, where the Cricut, you don't have that capability. So although the Cricut is great, and I do all kinds of paper crafts, and you can do other crafts with it as well, I do love my ScanNCut because I have that ability to scan the fabric, and then I can kind of reposition whatever I'm cutting to make sure that it's going to fit into the size of the fabric that I'm using, or the size of the paper. You know, there's like extra features that the Cricut just can't do, and it really makes the ScanNCut so worth the money. So I'm gonna go ahead. I mean, I like Disney, but I'm not like a, oh my god, gotta have Disney type thing. I just, you know, got this because I got it at a great deal, and it just happened to come to the Disney stuff. It wasn't something that I was actually looking for. I just got it because the price was just too good to pass up. So you want to keep your eye out for that. So now we have the designs here, and I have 3 rows of hexagons, which is a bit much. I really don't need all of those. So I'm going to show you how easy it is, and I'll see if you guys can see this a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and select Edit, and then I'm going to select one of the hexagons, and I'm going to select these 3 squares. That's going to allow you to select multiple. So I'll select it here, and I want to get rid of this one. Let me see. Can't turn here. This one and this one. So this whole row of extra hexagons that I really don't need, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. So I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to hit delete. And it's asking me, you know, is it okay to delete those? And I just hit OK, and now those are gone. And so you see 2 rows of the hexagon shapes, which is totally fine. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And what I want to do now is I want to scan the mat. So I'm going to hit that middle button here to scan the mat. And I'm going to go ahead and put this onto the machine. And me load my mat here. Ooh, hold on a second. There we go. Gotta watch that little corner because I didn't press it down too well. But let's go ahead and hit start. Ooh. There we go. Gotta watch the back of my ScanNCut, make sure I don't bump into my sewing machine here. So it's scanning the items that are on my mat. And so once it finishes scanning it, it's going to show it to me right on the screen. And so here, now, I don't know if you guys could see that very well. Let's see here. And we can show it to you kind of this way. It has a little bit of a glare, but you can see there is an object here onto the mat. So that is the actual fabric that I have on the mat. And so what I wanted to go ahead and do is just validate that my little hexagons are going to be cut. And so I can move them around just to make sure that they all fit on the mat. And I have a few that's a little bit low, so I'm going to kind of adjust them here. Okay. I think that will work. So now I think I'll hit OK. And then it's going to ask me, well, what do you want to do with this? I want to go ahead and select it and cut it. And then I will hit start. And so now it's going to go ahead and cut that on here. Right now I'm using the rotary blade, so it's testing out the amount of depth of the material to make sure that it's aligned properly, and then it's just going ahead and it's cutting it. Now it's using a rotary blade that's very similar to the rotary cutters that we have, so it's able to move around and angle itself into the best position to get the best cut. So that's really great. So once it's done here, I've already eliminated 2 of the steps that we did in the class. So if you recall, for the class, we had a total of 5 steps. First step was we used the print and piece fusible light. We cut those pieces out, right? She printed it on there. We cut those pieces out. We fused that to the fabric, and then we used the glue stick and we glued on the pieces, right, to the back side of the template. So that's how we ended up with our piece here. Now, doing it this way, I'm taking the entire sheet. I am covering it completely with the fabric. I sent it to my ScanNCut, and it's doing all the cuts for me. So it is going to have that perfect cut. And I don't have to worry about wrapping the fabric behind it because it's just right on it. So I don't have to even do that step. So it saves me in not having to purchase any glue sticks. So don't need the glue stick because it's already fused together. And I don't have to worry about cutting out the excess pieces and things like that on the fabric, because the ScanNCut is doing it for me. So I think I've reduced you have your traditional EPP method with the hand sewing, right? You've got the method that we used in the classroom. That was a total of 5 steps. And just doing it this way, I cut it down to 3 steps. So let's take a look at what it did. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to kind of take off my mat. And I'm going to just set this over to the side. Okay. And I will shut this down because I'm pretty much done with that. And so here we have our pieces, and I'll cut out. You can do it this way, or I can hold the whole thing. I'm trying for it not to fall apart, but they're cut so well that they just kind of slide off the mat. So this is what it looks like, and you've got your nice, perfect cut, and you're ready to sew. So there's nothing else you need to do. Everything's already done for you. So it's going to have all the pieces here. You can just pop them off. And let's see how many more pieces we have here. I could probably fit some more, and depending on your size, right? There is a little bit of a waste. But if you spend the time to kind of put them together on and kind of orientate them on the screen or in Canvas, then, you can save yourself quite a bit of fabric as well. So this was kind of the best I could do really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this plastic right back on here because I don't want anything, little fibers or things to get onto my mat. So it's always a good thing to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that back here because we're kind of done with that. So we've got all our pieces, right? Ooh, look at how much it's cut. Awesome. And so now that's already done. It's already cut. I've got all my pieces and I'm just ready to sew. It's that easy. Once you have it, you're good to go. And now let's head over to the sewing machine. So I'm going to show you a quick method on how to do that. So let me pull this over. And let me get this out of the way. Again, I'm going to be using the end foot for my machine because that is the foot that's called for this particular stitch. It is stitch number 31 on my machine. There's all kinds of different numbers depending on the machine that you have, but it's an amazing stitch. And, I just think it was so cool. Okay. Oh, Donna says, Nancy, you will be using fused hexes so that there is no hem. It will be an applique, seems fine for things like table runners. Yes, but not for quilts that might need laundering. No, you can put it in the wash. That was one of the questions that we had when we were in the class, when we were using this type of interface. And she indicated that it would go fine in the wash because the fabric here is, like it said on the package, right? This is partially water soluble. So once you do that, it's going to start washing away and you're going to be left with just the fabric hanging on to the stitches that you've put on here. So it will definitely work. So I've got all kinds of different ones. And here's that little speckled fabric charm pack, right? And then here's the ones that we did with the ScanNCut. Okay, so all kinds, and you can do all kinds of other shapes too. I've got some other shapes that I've done as well, and you can use those. Let me see, where did I put those? And you can do all kinds. You can do circles. You can do whatever shape you want, right? So I'll get to those. Here's one. We've got some others here. I mean, there are all kinds of different shapes that you can make and all kinds of different fabrics you can use. And so, you can really create so much when you're putting this together. So I'm going to go ahead and just take 2 of the speckled fabrics, and these are the 2 that I'm going to form, and we're going to just do the little flowers. Let me just pull these to the side, and you're just going to want to kind of do these, and let's just, oh, I don't know, let's throw in something like this so it looks a little bit different. Right, so let's say this is the flower that I wanted to put together. I would just go ahead and start with 2 of the pieces. You can start with the 2 inner, or you can start with the 2 outer. It really doesn't matter where you start. You're just going to start to sew and pivot every single time you get to the edge. So let's start off with just 2 together, and I'm going to start with these 2 right here. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the sewing machine so I can show you how this works. Okay, so we've got our little sew cam up, and we've got 2 of the hexagons. So the way I start off with the stitch, I'm going to pull my little bobbin thread and over to the back so it's out of the way. Now this stitch will move to the right, to the left, and to the center. That's how this stitch works. So if you recall, this is what it looks like. Yep. Yeah, here we go. And so you have the right, center, and left stitch, right? So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to bring down the needle, and I'm going to bring, so needle down. I'm going to line up my 2 hexagons with the needle that is down. And what I want to do, line it up as best I can to the middle. Once I'm happy with where that is, I can drop my presser foot. But another thing that you can do is you can take some painter's tape, just a tiny little piece. I found that this kind of helped from the little hexagons shifting around on me. What I did was I just kind of lined it up where I wanted it to be. And then I just took a little piece of painter's tape and I just put it down. Just put it down so it doesn't move. And then I go ahead and line this up with the needle. So you see the needle is down. I'm going to go ahead and bring down my presser foot. And so now the needle is right in between the 2 hexagon pieces. And then you're just going to go ahead and sew it. So let's go ahead and get my little foot here in position. Oops, I forgot to hold my thread tail, so it is eating it up, but it's okay. It's no big deal. As I get to the tape, I'll stop and lift the presser foot up, and then I'll just remove the tape. Oops, sorry guys, I bumped the little camera. Let's move the tape out. And then I'll put it right back down, and I'll just continue all the way down. And there we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take it off my machine so I can show you. Ooh, I've got a little bit of tangle. Here we go. Let me just clip the threads because I didn't pull those thread tails out of the way. So let me clip that off, and then I will show you what it looks like. Okay. So here we are. Let's see if you guys could see that. There we go. So those are the stitches, and it's now in place. I can pull on it, and it's holding up nicely. And so your stitches are there. And so now I just kind of continue building out the flower block. So I'll continue to grab another piece, and then this is where now you will start to pivot. So I'm running a little low on the bobbin, so you see all this curl going on. So I'm going to try to keep it out of the way. And then I'm going to grab a different color here. So let's use this hot pink. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull these together here. And just where I think I want it, I'm going to go ahead and take that piece of tape and put it down, because it's going to help keep that in place while I sew this side. I don't want that shifting around. So just that little piece of painter's tape right on top. Then I'm going to go to this end here, and I'm going to go ahead and put my needle down, make sure that it is in the center position. And then I'm going to line up my fabrics with it and put my presser foot down, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew. Oh, and I forgot to hold those tail ends again, but it's okay. And try to keep that as center as you can, and when you get to that end, because now we've already have our first two pieces in, so what we're going to do is we're going to pivot and then continue and come out on the other side. So get as close as you can to that end. Do one more stitch here. There we go. And then I'm going to lift up my presser foot and pivot and bring it back down. I'm going to go ahead and take this tape off. Here we go. And we want to bring these two together. Bring down my presser foot, and let's just sew. And that's it. And then you can take it off. There we go. And cut my threads here. Oop. Come on. There we are. Didn't bring my snips out with me, so got these really long scissors. Okay, and so let me just show you. We can bring that sew cam back up. So we've got now the pieces together here. Got a little too close. There you go. So you guys can see how it's nicely put together. And now you can kind of continue building up your flower. So let me show you just on the overhead here now what it looks like. And so you're going to continue building out your flower piece or whatever design you're making. You can kind of build this out and just continue on sewing all of the pieces. But it makes it a little bit faster because what you're doing is you're starting on one end and then just pivoting. Now, I didn't have to take this off. I could have continued to pivot this until I completely finished the entire project. But it's pretty much up to you how you want to do it. I just find that this method makes it so much easier, and having to stop and then continue to do another step and then stop again. This kind of makes it flow. I can cut out all the pieces that I need in one shot, and then I can just sit there and sew this together. And just by pivoting into each piece, it makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker. And so you'll be done with your project a lot faster than you think. So this is what it'll look like once it's all done and put together, and then you can add on to this and continue. Do some white blocks in between that'll serve as like a little border piece. And then after you put the little border piece here, you put another flower piece here. So it just makes it really nice and easy. And let me just show you what that would look like. So if I had some white ones here, and I'm just kind of turning these over. So let's just pretend these are white pieces that are sewn on. Right? And then you can kind of take your next flower and add that in. Let me see if we can fix this here of what it would look like once it's all sewn and put together. And there you go. So, you can continue going on and have different fussy cut pieces around. And you can continue to build it out as wide or as narrow as you need it to be. Or you can just keep it as just a flower piece and do a background for it. It would be a cute little pillowcase, all kinds of things that you can make with this. So I thought it was fun, it was quick, and I wanted to kind of make it my own process. And so that's what I've done using my ScanNCut. It just made it so much easier. And I really love this little process because it allows me to really move a lot faster and get the project done in just 3 simple steps. So that is it, guys. That's what I wanted to show you from my class. I really learned a lot, and we had a lot of fun in the class. And like I said, I was able to meet a lot of you out there, so I thought it was pretty cool. So Sassy says, if using lace fabric, this project can make cute dollies. Yes, I still use dollies on my furniture. Awesome. Yes, my mom does too. She crochets a lot. So yeah, I think that's an awesome way to make use of this process. Great, great thinking. Thank you, Sassy. So that's really it, guys. I just wanted to kind of show you how I took, there's an original way of doing things, and that's totally fine. If you like to hand sew, that's great. Then you have the process that I show that I went to class, and I showed you how we did it in class. But then when I got home, I kind of rethought the process and said, this would be so much quicker. And so I was able to reduce the amount of steps and make this a lot quicker, and just kind of, just rethinking of how to do something. There's so many different ways to do any one thing. And I thought this made it really quick and easy, and it was great because it was just 3 simple steps, and I can do them fairly quickly. And just in no time, you can have these done. So I think they're really quick and easy projects to make, and especially with the Easter coming up, there's a lot of different things that people would like to make. So I think these would be great little projects. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jenny. Oh, awesome. Glad you liked it. Great, great, great. Okay, so I don't see any of the other questions here. Oh, Faker Me Fake, I would love to see some of your projects. I am always interested in learning. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I really enjoyed having you with me back in my craft room in Miami, Florida. I'm happy to be here, and I'm just going to get cranking because I got a lot of projects to catch up on. So thank you all for tuning in, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
Nancy with GiftsHQ makes crafting videos, creating with passion and a love for what she sews. Crochet, quilting, and sewing, crafting is what she knows. Making smiles one craft at a time. Your talent will grow with every stitch and every thread she weaves her art. Her hands create something special straight from the heart. And as the colors come alive, the joy spreads near and far.